Let's start with some simple math. Game Pass Ultimate on console is a great deal at around $15 a month depending on your region. However, that the average annual cost is around $190, which doesn't get you very far in today's gaming marketplace buying brand new. So for this list, we're going to give you our choices for the top 10 games that came to Xbox Game Pass in 2021 and how much money you would have saved by being on the service. Halo Infinite took the magic of what made Halo Combat Evolved fun and infused it into a new semi-open world system that Halo Infinite featured. Now, is Halo Infinite a revolution in the same way that Halo Combat Evolved was? The answer is no, but Halo Infinite features crisp mechanics, fun additions, and great production value that is absolutely worthy of playing. Forza Horizon as a series has been driving towards something for a few iterations, and they have fully arrived. An open world racing game that is accessible to everyone, racing fan or not. Simply put, Forza Horizon 5 is pure fun from 1 minute to the next, no matter which way your GPS takes you. There isn't much else to say about Microsoft Flight Simulator other than anyone can play it with a variety of modes tailored to hardcore or casual gamer, and pretty much anyone who enjoys traveling will enjoy at least taking one flight every now and then. Announced as part of Xbox Game Pass during the Microsoft Summer Showcase, Back 4 Blood is the quintessential Xbox Game Pass title. It's a game that many people are very interested in, but are unsure about the longevity, price, or quality of the game. Outriders felt like a summer action blockbuster that used focus groups to figure out exactly what people wanted, including classes, loot, multiplayer, co-op, sci-fi, good visuals, and more. And despite being on Xbox Game Pass, Outriders did manage to place in the top 10 for sales on both the PlayStation and Xbox Store during its launch month, and overall was the third best-selling game in the US according to the NPD. Battlefield 2042 released in pretty rough shape. As a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, which does include EA Play, players got early access to a 10-hour trial a week ahead of its launch. The great news is that Game Pass saved many players a full purchase of a game that would be considered broken at launch. One of the closest things that Xbox had for simulation baseball was Super Mega Baseball, and while this game was fun, it did lack a certain realism. Now, all of a sudden, the MLB was likely not happy with the reduced exposure that the sport was seeing from its exclusive license deal with PlayStation and their long-running King of Baseball, Mlb the Show. And not only did Mlb the Show 21 expand its publishing to Xbox consoles, it also came to Xbox Game Pass on day one. 12 Minutes had been in development for a long time from Luis Antonio, a former Rockstar developer. The aesthetic and the design of the game was also very original, which caught the attention of many. Upon closer look, especially during first-person sequences, the game looks extremely rough, almost reminiscent of PS2 era character models who look bad and constantly clip through each other. 12 Minutes was also frustrating at times to control, with the most minor error blowing a whole time loop sequence. However, the most egregious problem with 12 Minutes, in my opinion, was the story. I would happily pay Microsoft 1 year's worth of Game Pass subscription fees to not have paid directly for 12 Minutes. Better late than never, as the saying goes, and that is true for Hades coming to Xbox Game Pass. Hades came to Xbox Game Pass in August of 2021, which is a little less than a year after its release in September of 2020 on PC and Switch. Now, Hades would eventually go on and win many outlets Game of the Year in 2020, as it took the traditional roguelike formula and added in a rich and engaging story that pulled at the fabric of Greek mythology. Unpacking was one of the best indie games of 2021. However, indie games have always had a stigma for their price points and their ceiling limit that an indie game needs to be cheap. Unpacking is a very original idea about moving into different phases of your life, all of which highlighted by the move to get you there. While my preference would always be quality over quantity, there are still many who scoff at the $20 or so that this game costs for its limited gameplay and short playtime. Being on Game Pass allows many people that would have those feelings toward a game with those characteristics to play Unpacking and be extremely happy that it was a game that they got to experience, and likely would have passed by if not for Xbox Game Pass. As you can see, not everything on Xbox Game Pass has to be the biggest first-party title to warrant a place on the best games on Xbox Game Pass in 2021. These are also only the top 10 games that I would consider based on games that came to Xbox Game Pass during the year. There are a plethora of titles that could have easily been used for this list to make the value look higher, including anything from Bethesda, all of which came to Game Pass after Microsoft acquired ZeniMax in 2021. This list could have also featured many other first-party titles like The Ascent or Psychonauts 2, or more indie titles like Among Us, Curse of the Dead Gods, or Cyber Shadow. There were also some headliners like It Takes Two, which would go on to win Game of the Year at the Game Awards, or even the remastered version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Xbox Game Pass doesn't just provide you great value, but in the case of certain games, it can actually save you from spending your hard-earned money on something that is currently in a broken state. Returning to the math, if you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you're looking at around $200 a year, which can sound sort of expensive, but when you start adding in the value, it becomes very simple. First, you minus the cost of the required service to play online like Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus, which is around $70 annually. And now, we're looking at an extra cost of around $130 to be subscribed to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. If you just played the 10 best games that came to Xbox Game Pass from this list and didn't play anything else and bought them outright, it would have cost you over $650, and that doesn't include the 10 other games or so that could have easily been featured on this list, as well as the OG Xbox and 360 titles available. I'm calculating the cost of the top 10 games only if you bought them versus if you were subscribed to Game Pass, you are saving over 80%. This bears repeating. If you only played the 10 best games that came to Xbox Game Pass in 2021, you would have saved yourself over 80%, which is wild. Now, obviously, 2022 looks to be another amazing year for Xbox Game Pass, with exclusive titles like Redfall and Starfield, or day one titles like Rainbow Six Extraction and Nobody Saves the World. The bottom line is simple: Xbox Game Pass is just too good. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, and let me know in the comments below what your favorite game of Xbox Game Pass was in 2021.